Welcome back to my new video for IGCSE chapter number 2. Today we are going to discuss some of the topics which I have mentioned in front of you, which is distance, displacement, speed and velocity. These are some of the topics. By the end of today's lecture, you will be going to recognize what is distance, what is displacement, and what are the difference between all these four other topics. Okay, now get started towards our first topic of the day, which is distance. What is distance? And how we can define distance basically. In normal routine, in daily life, we have been covering distance all day. Either if you're not going outside of your room or outside of your house, still you're covering distance inside your house as well. I'll tell you how. How is the question? How we are covering distance? For example, let's take 2 points inside your house. First one is kitchen. This is point A. Second location is B location, which is your room. And we assume that distance between these two locations inside your house, is around 10 meters. So what you are doing, you are basically moving from your room, covering a distance of 10 meters and going into the kitchen. That is what? That is, you're covering some length of 10 meters. Irrespective of direction, we are not discussing anything regarding direction here. We don't discuss like in which direction the kitchen is situated. Only the point of discussion here is length. How much length you are covering. Okay, we can expand this example for elaborating it much better. So you cover your 10-meter distance from room to the kitchen. Now you're going from A location to C location, which is your living room. So we say like your living room is around 5 meters away from the kitchen. Okay, then from living room you come back again to the B point, which is 15 meters away from the room. So now what is going on here? You get out of your room, you cover a distance of 10 meters, which is a length of 10 meters. Then you covered a length of furthermore 5 meters and reached the living room. You sat there for some time, watch TV or whatever you're doing in the living room. Then you again cover a distance or a length of 15 meters and come back to your room. So in the end, what is the total length you have covered? Total length covered is what? The total length covered by that person going from room is 10 meters plus addition of 5 meters plus addition of 15 meters. So in total, your length is covering up to be 30 meters totally. So your distance is going to be 30 meters from starting from room and ending at room again. So from this whole discussion, what we get in the end, the definition for distance is what? Definition for it is going to be total length covered by any object. Total length covered by any object, irrespective of direction. That is called your distance. Now coming towards its units, what is the unit of distance? The SI Standard International Unit, the SI unit which is being used for elaborating distance is meters, which can be denoted with small m like this. That is the unit for distance. Now I'll tell you distance is a scalar or a vector quantity. I assume like you guys know about scalars and vectors. If you don't, then I'll tell you and give you one more lecture on scalars and vectors, like what are scalars and what are vector quantities. Distance is basically a scalar quantity. So it is a scalar quantity. And why it is a scalar quantity? Because we mentioned in definition, like we are not talking about direction here. So scalar quantities are just mentioning the magnitude. So here our length is only mentioning the magnitude, how much length we have covered. That is 30, 40, 100, 120, 1000 meters. So this is the only numbers we are giving here. So as far as magnitude is mentioned, that quantity is considered to be a scalar quantity. So this is the first topic of our today's section, which is distance. Now coming towards our second part of the discussion, which is displacement. What is displacement? How we can elaborate displacement? And what are the differences between distance and displacement? So as we discussed, like distance is considered to be as the length of the journey, the length of your movement from one point to another point. Now displacement can be easily defined as shortest distance possible between starting and ending of your journey. Okay, or instead of giving such a long statement, you can say shortest distance between 2 points. So you can also describe in this form, like shortest distance between 2 points, whether it's a starting or ending of your journey, whether it's like 2 points nearby. So you can elaborate in that particular manner as well. So now coming towards its elaboration, its discussion, how we can define this whole displacement, or how we can elaborate this displacement in a certain scenario. So let's take us 2 points. For example, we are going from Turkey, which is your point number 1, and you want to move to another location. Let's say, for example, you want to go to Romania. That is your point number 2. If you want to take a road journey, if you want to take or travel by road, so there might be a road which is going this in this particular shape. There's ups and downs, curves and turns in the road, and then you reach your final destination. So this way, which is having ups and downs and curves and all the way to the Romania, is the whole journey, the length of the whole journey. This is considered to be as your length, which is you're covering a distance. So if you want to go and adopt this path, which is the whole thing, which is path A, this is known as your distance, because you're covering the whole length, which is, let's say for example, it is 1000 kilometers. So this 1000 kilometers is what is the distance basically. But how to define and how to find out the displacement? If you can see any tower standing from this point, for example, we are assuming, like let us assume like we can see standing in the Turkey at this point, and you can see directly in your line of sight to the location number 2, which is Romania. Okay, so for example, we are standing in Turkey at Galata Tower, and there is also a tower in Romania. So you can see that tower as well. Standing from Galata Tower, you can see that tower. So in that line of sight, directly, if you move between these 2 points, if you move directly these 2 points like this one, this is considered to be as your shortest distance, because we are not taking any turns, we are not increasing the length of our journey, we are just moving straight in to the direction of our nose and reached our second position, which is point number 2. So that is why we call it to be as the shortest distance between 2 points, because we are moving straight. So this shortest distance is considered to be as your displacement, which is obviously is going to be shortest distance than this 1000 kilometers. So your displacement might come to be as 500 meters, sorry, 500 kilometers. So that is displacement. But displacement is always talking about direction. Like from one point to another point, you are moving east, you are moving west, or you are moving in what direction your direction or your distance is going to be. For example, from Turkey to Romania, you cover a distance of 1000 kilometers, but you don't know the direction, like in which direction you are going. Why? Because the road is changing the direction all the time. Like in the beginning of your journey, you're coming downwards, which is towards the north side. Then after some point, you have taken a turn and you started to move upwards, which is, for example, let's say it becomes southeast. Then again, at some point of the distance, your location, your direction has been changing. So you cannot define a particular exact direction in which direction you're moving and in which direction you're covering your distance. That's why we don't mention distance with the help of direction. But if you start covering a displacement, so you must mention, like, I am covering my displacement in east direction, going towards the second point 2, and I have covered 500 kilometers in east. So when you covered 500 kilometers in particularly east, you reach your destination, which is point number 2 at the end. So displacement, now coming towards the points of displacement. Displacement is what? Definition first. How to define it? Definition of displacement is the shortest distance covered between 2 points. Second, it's SI units. How we can mention the SI units for displacement? The SI units for displacement is also meters, which is mentioned, or the symbolic representation is small m. Then in the end, the final thing, whether it's a vector or a scalar quantity, as we discussed, like, yes, it is talking about direction in its definition, like, yeah, you have to cover that distance in a particular direction, so it's a vector quantity. Why? Because it is giving you magnitude, it is giving you some number, some amount of distance you're covering, that is magnitude, and also a direction, which is east, west, or whatever the direction is. Basically talking about east and west is direction. So magnitude plus direction is being given in this elaboration. So that is your 2 topics which have been covered so far, which is distance and displacement. This is the definition and elaboration of both of the topics. What is the difference between these two? Difference between distance and displacement is what? Distance is the length of your whole journey. It is the whole length. So you can say it is a whole length, which always comes up to be a greater number. And displacement is what? Is a shortest distance. It is a shortest distance. Second is unaware of direction. It is aware of direction always, which makes it to be as a vector quantity. So these are some of the differences between these two quantities. Now there are some other terms which are related to these two separate terms. Like for distance, there is a term which is when we discuss or when we cover some distance, so it gives us some other values, and those terms are known as speed and velocity, and we'll discussing those speed and velocity in next video, inshallah. So for today's video, this is the topic which we have covered. We covered main topics from our today's videos, which is distance and displacement. So thank you for watching my video. If you like, please do subscribe and hit a like button if you like my video. See you in another video.